everyone, my name is Sarah Hurtubise, and I did my leisure activity presentation on golfing. I golfed at a 9-hole course in Livermore called Springtown Golf Course, and I went with my boyfriend and one of our friends. Let's start with history and current events in the golf world. Golf is and was predominantly an upper-class men's sport. Women in the past were encouraged to stay at home and take care of the kids and their family until sports and leisure became extremely popular in the 1950s. Sports such as golf, tennis, and swimming were introduced to a large population of women. This is a picture of the famous Arnold Palmer, a professional golfer from the 1950s. Recently, in 2006, over 5 million women reported that they had played at least one round of golf within the last 12 months. This chart shows briefly the percentage of men and women who have played at least one round of golf in the past 12 months. It shows the years 1998 to 2005. Women are much more involved and accepted in the golf world and in their clubs. However, there are still issues arising, such as women's dress, what's appropriate and what is not. Why is fashion more important than a woman's skill level? Even prestige media like New York Times still covers women's attire as opposed to their skill. And I think we've all heard of Tiger Woods' affair scandal, which indeed affected his ratings. This is interesting since the media continues to cover scandal and sex appeal. I believe historical changes have been made in the sport of golf for many reasons. The women's suffrage movement gave more rights to women. Sports and leisure were a way for women to enjoy their downtime away from home. Women simply pushed their way into the golf world with a profound voice, and Title IX has allowed women more opportunities in our schools. Golf from a student's perspective is much different when you're taking a class that involves looking at women and leisure. Traditional ideals of leisure for men usually include relaxing after a long day at work with other men who might do the same. Everyone wants to feel as though they have money and belong to a prestige club and association. Golf allows this for many men. As a patriarchal sport, men fit perfectly into golf because it was simply a place for them to relax with typically men of the same socioeconomic status and be a part of a patriarchal sport. Golf allows men to be a part of something lavish, classy, and prestige. One might ask how golf relates to the materials I studied in class. Culturally, women are supposed to participate in sports that bring out a feminine side, not a masculine side. And golf is definitely not one of those. Historically, golf is for men, and when women did get involved, it was only for women of the upper class. Way back in history, golf was seen as a quote-unquote acceptable competitive sport for young women, while team activities such as basketball and softball were associated with men from lower classes and were viewed less favorable for women. And in terms of media coverage, women in sports is very uncommon, and the sport of golf is covered much less than other sports, even though there is a golf channel. Quotes like "sex sells" and "it has shown their husbands they can really do something" are things said by designers of fashion for women in golf. The media always revolves around fashion for women instead of their actual skill for the sport. As a woman playing golf, there are definitely some constraints. I was going into a game that I had never played before. I was embarrassed, I was insecure, and I felt like I was playing wrong or my swing was going to be atrocious. These were considered my intrapersonal constraints. I had also never played golf because I just don't simply have the time. I have school and work, and it can be a lot. This is considered a structural constraint. Jackson and Godby Crawford created a model of 3 constraints: interpersonal, interpersonal, and structural constraints that hold someone back from engaging in a leisure activity. This is a picture that we took while I was golfing, and this is hole 6. It was a par 3, and I actually swung really, really well. Want to hear about my actual day on the green? I faced many challenges that day. I was nervous. I didn't understand how to play. I was embarrassed because I felt like I was doing it wrong. I was very self-conscious because I was playing with people who had actually played before. And my own desire to do good conflicted with my actual skill level when I didn't do as well as I wanted. Although I did gain a few things. Golf is easier than it looks, and women can do just as good as men. In fact, I've seen women do better. It is a relaxing sport, and I would definitely consider taking up golf as a regular way to engage in leisure. Enough said, leisure is defined as a period of time spent out of work and essential domestic activity. Golf is not something that I typically do, but if I could, I would get out and do it more often. For men, golf is a way for men to relax and engage in leisure as well. It's competitive, yet less intensive a game. It can be competitive as playing for the PGA Tour, or as casual as a round of 9 holes and a few good friends. Depending on the seriousness of the game, depends how accepting men are of women playing with them. When I played with my boyfriend and one of his friends. So the game was much more relaxed than it would have been if I played with 70-year-old men. My future in golf? I would definitely participate in a game of golf again, with less interpersonal constraints such as friends to encourage my engagement, or giving me pointers and encouraging words. It makes playing much less stressful and enjoyable, which is what leisure should be considered. The game was fun, I did enjoy it, and I did learn a few things. I actually did hit a couple good holes too.